And I guarantee you, a week after that, a fucking Reddit user will find a way to install it upside down. And welcome back to another Linux Gamecast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. I'm Venn, that's Jordan, that's Pedro, and together with you, Shut Realm Dynamic, helping us form cha-ching, cocaine, Voltron. Gentlemen, plenty to talk about this week. You might even know by the show title what we're going to be talking about first. Maybe, if I keep it the same, who knows? You can never tell. But I got a couple things. We were looking in the pre-pre, not even the super show. Was it the pre-pre super show? No, we went live on Twitch. We decided to look up the streamer awards, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. See how out of touch we were?
Pretty thoroughly out of touch, gotta admit. We knew a couple of names. I think we did good. I think we could probably, let's say, we say we got like maybe 20, 23%.
I was going to say probably closer to like 15%, but
Maybe.
That's still pretty good. That's still pretty good. I was expecting like 5. So,
and our grading metric was just knowing the name.
Yes. Have we heard of this individual before?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, I get that right.
I know that young whippersnapper.
We were doing IRL Captain America. We got to wait for Pedro's got to take a break from posting his Dell Optiplex photos in Discord.
No. Mir was trying to be clever. It's like, Optiplex to you? It's like, there's more than one variant out there.
Oh my god! You guys can like do this on your own time.
All right, do it.
Yeah, like
I got to thinking. One of the things I noticed was while we were doing that, we were talking about Trackmania and Trackmania being speedrunning, but something I noticed when we were scrolling through. Game of the year, Pedro. One of the games in contention is not a video game. How do you feel about that? One of the games nominated for Game of the Year is not a video game. Do you think that's right?
Well, is it because it's DLC?
It's because it's not a video game. You can't buy the DLC and play the game without owning the video game. Therefore, it's not. You love this on a technicality type stuff. So I wanted to get your opinion on this.
That's the thing. If we're talking about games as standalone products, absolutely, Shadow of the Erdtree should not be Game of the Year. DLC of the Year? Sure.
Should we? Okay, yeah, I agree with you. Should we just have a DLC?
Expansion of the Year, whatever you want to call
it. Like the fucking website just said Elden Ring. Pedro brought up Shadow of the Erdtree, so
it said Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, because that's the one that came out this year. Elden Ring came out in 2022.
Wasn't it just like the most games streamed this year? Like,
yeah, this is like maybe
this
has been a bit of a controversy this week about people arguing about the DLC putting an older game back in running for contention to Game of the Year.
Back in contention.
Because they're like, well, the DLC is here. And they're like, but the DLC is not the game.
But like, I think that's case by case, right? Like, because
I don't.
The Erdtree DLC is like a full ass fucking game, right? Like that is
DLC.
Like multi-hour game. I think it's distinction without a difference. I don't know.
But I think you still need to Venn's point.
Hang on. I want to ask Jordan a question.
All right.
Can I buy it separately from the original game and play it?
So what?
No. Can I? This is the question I want to pose to you.
Can you get a combined copy of Elden Ring and
can I buy the Shadow of the Erdtree or whatever it's called?
Erdtree? You can probably buy it separately, but it's unplayable without the base game. Yeah.
So that's my thing of like, that doesn't, it's an expansion. It's something, it's an addition to the original game. Yes, Pedro, before your eyes fucking pop out of your head, baby. We're all agreeing here.
Yes, we are. I
don't see what the quarrel is.
We're at the point of the conversation where I'm going to intentionally start getting Elden Ring shit wrong just to piss off Pedro.
No, that's the thing. I'm agreeing with you. It should absolutely have been like, okay, it's not even a video game awards type of deal. It's just the streaming awards saying that, yes, Shadow of the Erdtree was significant enough of a video game that already existed, but it was a new thing that came out this year that had a bunch of people streaming it. In that respect, yeah, I think it counts. But if you were saying it's like, yeah, Game of the Year, no. No.
I think there's room for like some of those bullshit categories for us to have DLC or expansion of the year.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
putting a lot of like stock into the status of like the Streamy Awards, right? I don't know.
No, just something I was thinking about this week. Like, I don't think between the three of us, many of us are going to lose any sleep over it, are we?
No.
I know I will now.
might?
I'm gonna be grappling with this question for years.
Something else I wanted to touch on was storage, because we were talking about Pedro's NAS.
His big sexy NAS.
That NAS
My
he's got, man.
PNAS.
Your NASless chaps.
And I forget who brought it up earlier this week in Discord. We got in a bit of a storage discussion, and I was having to think back. Why? Because 122 terabyte SSD was released or announced this week.
For only $122,000.
122 terabyte. Now, this is a regular sized drive too. It's not like freakish, is what I'm getting at. You know, this thing isn't like crazy weird enterprise. This is something you can pop in your case, plug in, you're good to go. It got me thinking, when was the first time that either of you had infinite storage? Because I remember the first time I got infinite storage. What's infinite storage? To me, let me know what you think in the comments. But to me, infinite storage was having a device that could hold more data than I had, period. Could even come up with, given an entire weekend to sit around going, what else do I put on this? Now, my date's fuzzy on this because I want to say it was like 1995, but it clearly was between 1995 and 1997 because Google's like, man, bro, I don't remember. But I got a 4 gig spinning drive. It was like 5,400 RPM. And I remember that weekend. It was given to me. Friend of a friend that my mom knew. I didn't know what to put on it, dude. I was copying CD-ROMs to it just to like, look, I can copy a CD-ROM to this.
Yeah, I think for me, the first time I had that experience was like getting a 250 gigabyte external hard drive. When my main drive was a 60 gig one. And then when I built the storage box and I had 4 whole redundant terabytes of storage, and now that's chewed up, and I had to go buy a bunch of new drives recently, so it wasn't as infinite as I had hoped.
Yeah,
you need to download more porn, Nemo.
it was in university, like towards the end of university, when I bought my first terabyte external hard drive. I was like, yeah, I can store literally everything on it and still have 700 gigabytes left.
Yeah, had to
put everything on there, then do a backup, of the backup, and I'm like, no.
Well, the revelation that I didn't have to pick and choose my favorite Real Player Simpsons and Family Guy episodes, I could keep them all, and maybe even attempt to have like full seasons of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, nowadays I have 1,400 games on Steam, and there's at least 10 of them that are close to 100 gigabytes.
I misheard the child the other day and consequently had to explain to him what a Limewire was.
Oh no. Did you like go make some tea and like get in the rocking chair and like, all right, sit down. We're gonna have to talk.
Back in my day, we didn't have YouTube.
Put on some like old violin, like
we used the free version of Limewire to download the full version of Limewire.
Dear Martha.
I have the Trenchfoot. I downloaded a sketchy MP3 and now I'm dying.
So can we all agree that in 2024, except for you, Atomic Ass, I saw you hit me back up on the social medias. To me, 122 terabyte drive would be infinite storage for me right now. And I am somebody who regularly deals with multi-100 gigabyte. Like what Pedro said with his Steam library, it would get lost on this drive.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, it's in a folder somewhere, sort by size.
I think the main thing is always like that for now statement. That clause is always going to be like,
oh yeah, oh yes. How long do you think this would run? Because I think 122 terabytes for me now. The obvious thing is you need 2, right? Yeah,
you got to have a backup, right? You don't want to lose 122 terabytes of data. At least 2. You might want to have a third one.
I mean, I start getting the sweats at like 8, 9 terabytes. I'm like, whoa, then that gets expensive to keep that relatively backed up. But yeah, I think 122 terabytes would do me for probably the next decade, I want to say.
Probably. Like, I don't know. I would definitely be checking out higher quality discs from the local video store.
Yeah, you really wouldn't think about it, would you?
Yeah.
What's that?
I really be limited
rip?
just by my my membership rates. Yeah,
Blu-rays only.
Yeah. No, then you have to go back through your archive and be like, okay, well, this is all like fucking 720p shit. We got to replace that with like the new.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It exists, and it's probably going to be eye-watering. Like, this side it's consumer in the sense that if you got one, you could hook it up to your PC without any like extra trickery required.
It plugs into your SATA port.
Right.
Like, yeah.
You could put it in your case. You don't need like a specialized backplate or something to sit in it.
You don't need a SAS card or something.
Now, before we get going, I do want to give this a little bit of a mention. Is the Radxa X4. I finished that up over on Interfacing Linux, and I kind of talked about it a bit more on Weekly Daily Wednesdays. Go back and give that a listen, but I wanted to give it a mention here on Linux Gamecast because I tested 2 games. One, I tested Crysis on it. This little bastard runs Crysis. It does. However, on a disappointing note, if you don't know what this is an $80 quad-core N100 single-board computer with a watch battery that bangs around on this horrible, dumb little case. I'm not going to call it a case, but I gave it a Hollow Knight test because I know some people are like, hey man, can I do some gaming with it? Hollow Knight test, can't do 1080p 60 Hollow Knight. Quad core N100, had to do 720p to get the 60 on Hollow Knight. That's how that works. So full write-up, go read through it, Interfacing Linux. There you go. That's the plug I wanted to give myself. Now we need to talk to our reigning undefeated, except for those times he was. What's the name of the card game you're playing?
Magic Gathering. Yeah,
the Gathering tournament champion in Toronto.
Undefeated. I have the streak has begun. Yeah. No, I went to the MTG Foundation's pre-release on Monday, and I pulled a bunch of dinky elves. This is my black-green elf deck that somehow went the distance, and kicked everyone's ass. It was Swiss, so it wasn't like there wasn't like finals or anything. But at the end of the night, on the big TV that had the placing, it said Jordan Svung #1, and that was the first time that's ever happened for me.
Very good.
And you took that picture so we can share it with everybody.
No. I tried to get a screenshot of the app with the plate listings, and then it fucking crashed before I could get it. But before it actually updated with the 333 or whatever. But yeah, I'm very proud of myself. I did it.
You got some momentum going on now, man.
I am the undefeated king of games. Seto Kaiba, you're next. I'm coming for you.
Let's do it. Those are words. Pedro Mateus. Has this spurred you? Get the juices flowing that you're going to have to pick up the magic? No, that's the answer to that. What have you been up to then?
This week I had a bit of a run-in, and I mentioned this earlier, but a run-in with build issues on Shay's copper repo for Mesa on Fedora, because was it Wednesday or Thursday? This box just booted to a black screen. I can still hear the jingle that KDE does when it fires up, so that was loading up. I was just getting a black screen. So I undid the updates from the night before, and lo and behold, everything came right back up.
Now, Pedro, I got to ask you, man, were you running KDE GU9 or GU10?
GU?
Yeah. I mean, there's been some problems with KDE GU10. The 5-watt variant.
Only if you have a 3000K display.
The clock's in. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think it's the GU8 because it clearly wasn't even lighting up properly. But no, for once the issue was not KDE. It was just the Mesa 25 Git build that didn't work terribly well. I don't know if they fixed it since then or not, because then I just disabled the repo and did a distro sync, and there, problem went away.
Well, Che does the nightly builds, so it's often you just gotta like wait a day and then reinstall or upgrade.
Oh man,
probably.
That's like me getting the sweats doing this Trixie. I'm tracking Trixie right now in Debian on this box. oh, dude, app it update. And you skip like 2 days and it's like 192 packages. I'm like, oh. And sometimes it works out. Sometimes it don't. I've already learned that twice so far. Will we ever be able to put those floodlights in the horse, though? Like, just give them 2 high beams.
No. The best we can do is like wash out the horse. Maybe give it a nice coat of shellac. It's the Steam All right. Well, it's time to build a snowman. We can make him our best friend. We can name him Bob. We can name him Beowulf. We can name him Steam Deck. So there's a Snow White Steam Deck coming out. It's $836 Canadian, which is substantially more than the 512 Steam Deck Pro. But if you want that white color, that's what you got to pay.
You got to
pay the
pay
premium.
for decked off the white, bitch.
Deck the halls, baby. It's very, very festive.
What's up with these red ass fucking things going on down here?
Calendar buttons. You can
Outlook,
add the launch date to your calendar.
If you are clamoring for a Steam Deck OLED limited white edition, $679 USD. Yeah, it's what, 30 bucks more than the 1 terabyte OLED. That's it's a little pricey for what is ultimately a cosmetic upgrade. And they do sell like Steam Deck shells that you can add to your Steam Deck as an aftermarket thing. But I guess if you really want that, I don't know what, first gen iPod flavor, here you go.
Yeah, I've seen what game consoles that are white and what they look like after a few years. No, that'll get really gunk brown really quickly. So I did really like the old one that they released, the limited edition that was USA only, Valve, that had the like semi-transparent plastic shell and the analog, like the covers of the analog sticks at the bottom were red. That looked really good. White, no.
It got me thinking though, man. Like we were talking about that a little bit earlier. Everybody's got that friend that has like that white gaming collection or like that, like that theme bullshit. And like,
do they also have the white BMW with them?
Is that a thing in Canada?
I don't know. The white BMW owners are like jerks. I think that's a pretty standard one.
You can leave that at just BMW owners. Yes.
I know a couple people with some BMWs. Listen, they're not jerks. They might not understand how turn signals work. That might be a little close to home.
They might not understand how parking spaces work either.
But at the end of the day, man, I would be terrified of having. If I bought something like that, I would be like, that's just going to go in the display case. I wouldn't want to use it. It'd get dirty.
Yeah.
The black Steam Deck,
decks.
The red one covers up blood. Not a problem. That thing, you're going to look a little sus. You got a blood stain or two on that thing walking around.
It's my Patrick Bateman skin.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
$30 over the 1 terabyte
semi-transparent
OLED.
shell available. That'd be nice.
It would bug me too much. It'd be too many marks and scratches and like, no. I think like consumer electronics have that. We've standardized on black colors, except for what Nintendo did with like the Wii and shit. But with like consoles and handhelds and stuff like that, you want to be able to toss it around. You don't want to be worried about scuffing it up, unless you don't care, right?
Well, then you're definitely not buying the white one if you don't care.
Then you're the child, and you're gonna get whatever the parents get you. Yes.
You know what we need? We need like a Mad Cat Steam Deck skin. We were talking about the controllers earlier.
I'm sure they're gonna like do something like that. I think the big news out of all this is it's gonna be shipping worldwide.
Yes.
Everybody can go spend an extra $30, which you have to now, man, because you can't be seen without That's like getting last gen iPhone.
You're gonna be judged harshly by all the Steam Deck fans on the subway.
You know what? Listen, if any of your friends are like buying like the white Steam Decks, make sure you get some crayons and shit for their kids this holiday season.
Mm-hmm. Look, there's a nice flat surface at the back of it that you could just start writing.
Now, if you have some creative kids who draw some cool shit on the back of your Steam Deck, that might be a win. So
send them in. Proton Experimental. It's got some fun stuff going on with it, including DLSS Tris.
That's the big one. That is the one that jumped out at me.
That inspired you. You've already ordered your NVIDIA card, huh?
No.
Damn it. I thought we were going to get them back, kids.
It is a significant
you and Jensen
enough,
are very disappointed.
It is a significant enough progress in the software side to support NVIDIA's DLSS 3 with frame generation, which is the thing that, well, a certain subsection of the gaming community seems to really care about. They clearly don't care about input latency, but hey,
fuck you, like I click button thing, go burr, fuck yeah, click button.
Yeah. So
latency, what's that, nerd?
The new version of Experimental, on top of the other things that it has there, the optical flow API and DLSS 3 with frame generation, also support for the new Dragon Age Veilguard, which I keep getting these bouts of curiosity because I want to try it, but at the same time I go, Dragon Age 2 was shit. It was so big shit.
I was talking to one of my wife's friends who's playing Veilguard, and he was enjoying it.
All right.
Yeah, so I don't know. The second and third Dragon Age games sucked, and so the fact that this one is different than those should probably be a good thing.
Okay, that's good. No, that's very good.
The other thing that's in this version of Proton Experimental is they're rolling out a new media source framework. This does break media playback in Resident Evil 7 and 8, but in exchange you do get smoother media playback in Call of Cthulhu, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Soul Calibur 6, Galgun, and others. They are keeping it in Proton Experimental for the meanwhile, so if you do experience regressions with media playback, please report them so that they can get fixed. Because, media foundations and all that crap has long been a pain point under Wine. And for a while we had it fixed, but it looks like they're improving that even more so, which is always good. I like being able to watch it in-game
proprietary Microsoft media codecs.
DLSS, the frame generation stuff is, that's where I draw the line with the frame gen stuff. Like, no joke. I'm like, because I view super sampling, like the AI assisted DLSS, which is, it looks great, but it's a gimmick. I've always been calling it a gimmick. DLSS 2.0 was a really good gimmick. 3's even better. But when you start stacking frame gen, what do you do? What Pedro said, you got to deal with input latency. Then what do? Then you have this new technology on top of those two to reduce your input latency, to bring it back down to just where it used to be, not better.
And then we need to worry about Spectre on your GPU instead of just old Intel CPUs.
Then you
have to worry about speculative execution on your GPU.
Anti-cheat shit, AMD, on Windows at least.
Yeah. Again, we don't have to make the games run. We don't have to make the games look better. We just have to make them run worse so that you need better video cards, right?
I got hands-on with a PS5 Pro this week, though.
Oh, yeah?
Final Fantasy.
Which one, 7 or 16?
16.
16.
16?
Yeah, I guess.
Devil May Final Fantasy?
I guess.
Yeah.
I was outdoors and I spun it around. That was my hands on. It was like...
Was it daytime outdoors?
Yes.
Okay, then it was 16.
It was not the medieval one.
Okay, then it was 7.
It was 16.75944444444. Obviously.
Pisser.
Yeah, but
looks like FSR like 1.2. It's not that great. The upscaling.
It's probably based on FSR 2 or 3.
I mean,
because
I
the
would
code for
assume
those is
since it
actually
has to
available.
use the exact same silicon.
The code for those is actually available, so...
What's great is the PS5 Pro is like you still stick it on what is it, performance mode, because you want your game to actually run better.
Well, this is what I tried because I wanted to see like the difference, because like I couldn't fucking tell. I've watched a couple of like YouTube videos and you can't tell through a fucking YouTube video. And this was on just a regular LCD that wasn't like OLED or anything. And I tried performance and I tried not performance,
optimized mode or whatever,
graphics mode.
Not even a performance, like it looked all right, but like neither one of them is like, it doesn't work to, it's all gimmicks. In motion, you can't fucking tell.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when the
shimmery.
fucking enemy is trying to stip on your face, you're not looking at the reflections and shit,
dude.
right? Like
the shimmeriness is very typical of FSR. If you're using FSR and you just move the camera around, it's like you have motion blur
just spinning around, and you're like,
yeah.
sparkles.
Does that mean that Predator uses FSR
Fuck
for
yeah,
his
he
cloaking
does.
device?
Goddamn. He's getting
yeah.
too old for that shit.
It's the telltale shimmer.
That's how he makes up for the low resolution of the, the thermal camera. Just FSR it up.
Boom. And I'm sorry, dude. Like the FLIR camera, when I pull that button, it should have stereo speakers where it goes boom, and it sounds underwater and muted and pulses. Yeah, the predator sound.
Low pass filter. Yeah.
I can't do the throat clicks otherwise.
Right. Now, a game that you probably will not need DLSS or FSR or
Not
PSSR.
for the first one.
You'll need the hardware that enables that. That's the other one. Never mind.
No, that's the one after. Yeah.
One of these days, I'm going to like flowchart the joke I attempt to make sometimes. So these guys are like, oh, then they'll just step on it anyway. Half-Life 2. See, that's a mute button for you. 1998. How long ago was that, Jordan? The sweet part is like not actually muting him and watching him getting grumpy.
I don't fucking know. How long ago was 1998? More than 20 years ago. That's for sure.
Celebrating its 20th anniversary this week. Half-Life 2. It's really been that long.
Yeah. In my brain, I think it's 2025. God
it's 2004 when it got released.
Yeah,
Half-Life was like, God, what?
Yeah.
1998.
Yeah.
It was 26 years ago.
Let's not think about those numbers.
Those happy days.
To the point of the story, why are we talking about Half-Life 2? A couple of reasons. This one, if you're listening to this show on your drive-in to work on Monday, when you get to work, don't do it right now. Don't pull over. Wait till you get to work. Log into Steam and get your free copy of Half-Life 2 because apparently...
Pull out your phone. Log into the Steam mobile app while you're driving. And
steer with your knees. No. Because apparently a couple of people don't have Half-Life 2. We were talking about that earlier. Was the average player base for Half-Life 2 was about 500 players a day, according to Steam DB. This jumped up to 50,000 players. Why? Because it's free right now. If you're listening, you don't have Half-Life 2, go to the Steam store, click on it, it's yours. And there's been some updates. Episode 1 and 2 has all been merged into one nice little free package, so you can play the whole thing and get pissed off like I did about 3.5-4 years ago. Workshop support's been added, to which I was like, well, I didn't have workshop support. Okay, that's cool. And something I noticed, because I was looking for like, hey, we could do some Half-Life 2 co-op. And Half-Life's like, fuck no, you can't. We broke Synergy mod to hell with this update, dude. You're not doing any of that.
Boo. Well, I guess we got to wait for Synergy to catch up.
Well,
then.
They're working on it.
The old build is still available. It's in one of the betas. You have to specifically opt into it. But whether or not that works with Synergy is a whole other thing. I did notice the demo there. It's available for Windows and Mac, while the game itself is available for Windows and Linux.
Like, you think they're going to be asked to go back and
build the Linux demo?
Right? Like, this thing doesn't even mention. They didn't even update the...
Well, and it's like, what? Half-Life 2 currently just uses DXVK native, so even if you run it in Proton, or you run it natively, it's still the same fucking shit, right? Like,
yeah.
Go back and enjoy it, man. Like, no joke. I guess it's coming up on like 4 years ago. I played Half-Life 2 for the first time, and like 4 years ago, I mean, the game holds up. The story is there, the action's there, and you will, if you
the blue balls
enjoy like going through it. Like, they did a great job, great execution, and at the end of Half-Life 2 episode 2, you will understand like people who have genuine anger for like yeah. You got
that is why the meme of Half-Life 2 Episode 3 or Half-Life 3 exists. Yeah.
But maybe you're thinking to yourself, man, you know what? It's 2024. I want to relive a more retro experience. I don't want my Half-Life to run at 60 FPS. I want it to be more like an authentic 2004 Half-Life 2 experience. I want to say like 28, maybe 32 FPS. Well, we got the update for you. Half-Life 2 RTX is in the works. An RTX remix project where you can relive the groundbreaking, critically acclaimed RTX goodness with DLSS 3.5. That's right. You want to go back to 720p 45 FPS? Oh, baby, this will probably do it. Now, this is from the guys from 3 different Half-Life projects that kind of got together. had some sexy time. They came up with some new lighting, new textures to go along. A lot of the models have been upgraded. One of the things that bugged me, like a lot of circles in Half-Life 2 were just like lazy ass, blocky ass polygons. I'm like, that's not particularly round. They fixed that. And surprisingly, this didn't launch yesterday for the 20th anniversary of Half-Life 2, which I was like, this is kind of like that dumbass Mortal Kombat 1 Scream DLC that released this week. And I'm like, that would have been
those
great
washing machines
for fucking Halloween. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of. Yeah.
Fucking reminds me I need to do some laundry.
It's coming soon. No pricing information, which I doubt it'll be anything. I haven't seen anything where they like the remix have a price tag on it.
Did they charge for the Portal RTX remix?
No, I don't think so. Did they?
No.
Yeah, I don't remember. So yeah, likely it'll be like a free if you own it. Otherwise, you got to like buy Half-Life 2, which is why they're probably making it free right now.
Let's talk about Retro City updates, though.
Yeah, this came from Mirror, and if you're in our Discord, if you're a Patreon, you can give us show suggestions. We'll give you a little credit for them in the show. Links to all of this stuff is in our show notes, by the way. Yeah, so Retro City Rampage DX, you might remember it from many years ago. This is 12 years since their release, and it's like a GTA style run around beat 'em up. Very, very pixely, low poly game. And yeah, they released a new version that introduces a new DirectX renderer, like we give a shit about. If you do Control F Linux, they've mostly expanded the controller model support, aka they rebuilt it against a new version of SDL. And also, hey, matching buttons for your controllers of choice. That's a global change, but if you plug in your DualShock, you will see your triangles and your squares. And if you plug in your Nintendo controller, Nintendo will just come and sue you. But yeah, they have a couple other things. Venn, you're curious about the Apple support, yeah?
I mean, it's like I was having a read through it, and they're like, "Hey, man, we now have native Apple M1 support." And I'm like, "How does this work out?"
I think they just tested it against Rosetta because, like, this game is not very graphically intense. It is, yeah.
Well, it's not intense.
They do say
but
they
like,
built it for Apple Silicon, so
right.
Yeah,
it's now built for Apple Silicon as well as Intel. So they point that out. They're like, we also have an Intel build, but we also have an Apple, M series build.
So
how does that get distributed with Steam? Do you have like a M1 M series repo and an Intel repo?
Or maybe there's just a binary. Just the M1 binary is in the thing. Or maybe it's a fat binary, right? Like maybe if you run the binary on a ARM
or it
system
just
or
downloads both with one. Yes.
I was just thinking of like, how many like branches do you have in that? Because like is the Steam client even native on for the M series, or is that running?
I think that's running Rosetta. I do know that Mac does like the fat binaries. If you do like iOS builds, it bundles like the ARM. It was back when they had like the ARM 32-bit ARM and the 64-bit ARM. It just bundled them in the same EXE. So I would imagine that's probably their strategy going forward.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. A little bit of news this week. Who wants to GOG forever?
Who wants to GOG forever? Yeah, the GOG preservation program. Back when GOG was called Good Old Games, instead of just, an ancient Sumerian Babylonian deity.
No, we're going to rewrite history. Don't use it.
Yeah.
No, it just stands for GOG now.
It's just GOG stands for GOGOG. But anyways, they have the preservation program, and they're talking about how, games, stop working after a while because the operating systems that they run on lose support, don't run on modern hardware, et cetera, et cetera. So they talk a little bit about like, hey, here's the work that we're doing to make these games work on modern systems, and they give you a couple case studies. They give OG Diablo, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, and the OG Resident Evil trilogy.
They take a break to try to sell you some shit. And,
Then here's all the
right.
Yeah, here's all the games that we did preserve. I do like if you actually expand the Diablo one. There's a note that says fix the mouse issue for real this time. Gotta love it. Gotta love those commit messages. And like it's all well and good. GOG is doing a good thing, making sure that these games are running on like modern Windows, but they are working within the limitations of the original apps, including the executable format. And as we've talked about many times on the show, the real juice is all the engine re-implementations that we've been covering. Got to drag all those games kicking and screaming into modern frameworks, running on modern hardware, using like SDL3, Vulkan, and so on. But GOG still has a role in all this. They got to keep archives of that sweet, sweet game asset so that, those can't be reverse engineered. Those are under intellectual property laws. So yeah, you need to get them somewhere.
That's the big one because, yes, GOG is doing all of that with the publisher's say so. It's like, yes, you can have the binaries and you can sell it on your store and make it work on the things, but the publisher has to say that, yes, you can do that. But we've seen a number of publishers, especially in the last few months, be outwardly hostile to any and all preservation efforts. So, like Jordan said, we will need engine reimplementations for a lot of things if those are ever going to stay working in any way. And yeah, at that point, companies like Take-Two will only have the DMCA to fall back on and abuse when they want to take the engine reimplementation that was correctly done and reverse engineered. Yeah.
Gentlemen, we don't have to worry about it. We've already seen companies like Bethesda with beautiful things like Quake, Beth Mastered, Night Dive Studios completely fucking up a game, fucking up the physics, and finding a way to make something that has been open source for 2 decades, now proprietary again. Good job. But this is interesting. I was reading through it. Preservation program is currently Windows only. Why do you think that is? Well, they have
because the games are Windows only.
Our priority is to preserve as many games as possible under the program before expanding to other operating systems, which has like GOG. I think we're good over here in Linux land, bro.
No, you just got to send them an email.
Like it or not, Wine might be the compatibility layer for gaming on Linux. I don't think that was ever the intention, but I've talked about it multiple times over the years. How games will be running under Linux or whatever Linux morphs into 50 years from now will probably involve some component that rhymes with wine.
Yeah, Wine, Box 86. Yeah, and go on.
It's unfortunate that old Windows games run better on Linux than old Linux games. Because
let's take a look at
breakage
something that we can like draw similar lines to. We have DOSBox. Like DOS games, right? You know, like games that have been published like 20, 30 years. And like, so I think that's what we're going to be seeing with that. You know, I'm all for the quality of life work that GOG's doing, going back and like fixing, you know, like mouse issues, cursor issues and stuff like that, screen resolutions.
Resolution I think is the big one.
But I do worry about some of these games, the GOGified, updated, modern versions are going to require, at least in some small part, like maybe the occasional workaround to work with the updated GOG version by the Wine team. They're like, oh, okay, we got the regular version, then we got the updated version that we got to work with.
Well, to that point, I was listening to Castle Super Beast this week, and they were talking about one of the guys was going and playing the original Dragon Age, and yeah, the Steam version doesn't work because it needs to connect to like a BioWare online server. Yeah, the GOG version has the bypass, but the resolution still only caps out at like 1080p, so you get nice type unless you gotta like install the fucking high resolution mod pack, which is not available through GOG. You gotta
set it the exe to add the option to it.
Yeah, so I again, like these are all things that are good like stopgaps, but there are still like other technical hurdles we do have to overcome, and
better than nothing. And yeah, I think this is mostly for like Windows users, which is like Windows wants to keep that backwards compatibility lifestyle. They like good, you know, like Linux and Mac are just like kill their fucking babies when it comes to backwards compatibility, and there is that. Now, something I got a question about though, I was going through the fact. An obvious one, right? Is GOG preservation program for old games only? No, it's not. Program may include any game that needs maintenance and we can commit to maintaining ourselves. Oh, okay. Well, can a new release join the program? No. Wait. What?
GOG can't take over responsibility for games quality because of the developer.
But is it for old games only? No, it's not. But I can put my new game? No, you can't.
Yeah, I think it's basically like if it's still out and being supported, then it's the developer's problem. If they abandon it, then it's our problem.
I get what you're putting down, but that's a little confusing.
oh, yeah, a little bit.
They do say even if it's only been out for a few months, Oh, so if it's a brand new game, no. If it's just
Concorde.
released, you're on your own. Fuck
Yeah.
you.
Concorde, come into GOG.
GOG, do that. Maintain Concorde.
You know it. All 5 Concorde players would love you forever.
Couldn't find a copy. I went to our local retro gaming store earlier this week. I did ask about that.
For a while, there were just like still boxed copies when the game was fucking dead.
I was partially assuming that they might just have like one to give me.
Right, yeah, like you can't sell these things. Can I just have one? Yeah.
Right. And then I figured like they had to have people that like bring them, and they're like, no, we don't have any. I'm like, damn it.
You know what? You gotta use them as coasters, right? Like you have a nice little dinner party and put everyone's drink.
I just wanted a sealed like PS4 or whatever Concorde thing to be like, I got one. But hey, this is good, and anything is good. This reverse engineering, open sourcing the damn things, which is the real preservation. That was one of my issues that I've had with Night Dive Studio. Not themselves. My issue with that is they fucked up the physics in Quake. My issue is with Bethesda trying to come up with a way to get their hooks back into what was open source. They should have made improvements to the
sell you the same game you bought 20 years ago,
or taking it out of the open source realm, bring it back into a proprietary code base as they've done with Quake Beth Bastard. So Ogres.
Ooh, Ogre UI Proto. Yeah, no, I ran into this because I have the Saturn Pro controller.
Okay.
And Retrobit, the folks who created it, well, their Linux software support is basically non-existent. And the mapping on the controller, basically you just have A, B, X, Y as the correct ones that you'd have for your typical Xbox or PlayStation controllers. But then C and Z, or Z, are mapped to L1 and R1. And I'd rather have, R1 and R2, both of them being here. So I was looking for something. It's like, okay, did anyone figure out how to actively fix Retrobit's cock up? No, they did not. But this is very much still in the same ballpark. It's a bit of a different way of doing things. So,
look, somebody ran Python, Git, or
yes. It's built in Python. It's all Python all the way. They do say they want to make it in Go or in C so it works a little faster in the future. But right now, it is a way to little GUI that basically asks you, do you want to press the C button or the X button? And if you press the C button, it identifies it as a Sega controller with the 6 face buttons, and it gives you the right prompts for that. At the same time, if you press the X, it just reverts back to direct
Are you
input.
telling me this is a GUI application?
Yes.
I would have no idea. I wonder why that is.
It says Wayland GTK overlay.
No.
so and like I too was struggling trying to without having to build it and run it myself.
Oh, I'm just giving them shit for having a GUI application and not having screenshots on the GitHub repo.
Screenshots. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Is the description of it doesn't really conjure a good mental image of what I would expect to be looking at.
How does our little monkey brains? I'm looking for the thing and I hit this page. I'm going to do a quick scroll. I'm like, I don't see it. I don't feel like opening a terminal for this. Nope.
Let me ask you this, Pedro.
Right.
So you ran it, right? You built it and you set it up. Okay, so what does it actually look like? Is it just like a window that has the controller button that you're supposed to press, or
does it open like a little 3D Hellraiser box?
Imagine Luterus when you first started up before you added any games. It's that same level of Python GTK,
right?
And you go through the setup and it asks you, okay, press C or X. If you press C, it gives you of course, on my end, it just goes, that's not the C button, because that's actually the...
But so does it show you a picture of the controller?
No.
Okay. What does this do?
Basically, if you have one of the old Sega controllers...
If there were only screenshots.
Right.
That have the C button as its own individual input that it can detect the C button, then it just changes the basically how the face buttons are supposed to look in, I don't know, the games
Do you
that
have a
support
screenshot? Okay. Let me put it this way. Can you post a screenshot of it in Discord, please?
Yeah.
Not right now. It's not.
Stay
fine.
tuned. You know what? Fuck it. Give
I-
us money. Sign up to our Patreon. Become a Twitch subscriber. Hop in our super secret Discord, and you too.
Can see what the fuck this thing
There
actually
you
is,
go.
because I still have no fucking clue.
Use your imagination. So maybe you want to reduce peak memory usage and fragmentation in God of War, boy.
Yeah. Well, you probably want the latest version of DXVK. Joshi is just fucking killing it. Dotsujin is fucking killing it. They're just pushing stuff out. In this case here, memory management is the big one. So they are reducing, they've done a complete memory subsystem rewrite. It is less subject to fragmentation. They are like provisioning like less space in between memory fragments. They are also running periodic memory defrag so that things are kept nice and tight while running. Because, you thought you didn't need defragmentation under Linux. Well, you kind of do, but not for disk. And also, they have fixed in D3, D9, and 8 games software cursors. So now you can have proper BG style cursors in Dungeon Siege again. Yay! There's an SDL3 binding for DXVK native as well, if you want to take advantage of it. And just make sure that your game, you can write your games in DirectX, but they're really using Vulkan.
Oh man, this cursor's too spicy. Watch, I'll click on it. Womp womp.
Denied.
Too spicy.
Yeah, no. As someone who has a lot of old games with software cursors in Lutris right now, it would be nice to have something that could render them properly. But the biggest one, it hasn't even been like the XVK. That's the biggest cursor killer. GameScope. GameScope tends to override any cursor with just the default Adwaita one, which
I missed the X.
Yeah, no. Now that it's Wayland, they can't use the old just
yes.
X
Use the I fucked up notification
Shit
system. of X11.
that's my clue. That shit has gone wiggy, and I should be on.
little X as your cursor. Like, well, I fucked something up, didn't I? All right, cool. Love to see it. We were sitting back relaxing. We've definitely talked about like DXVK. It's like, I guess they fixed it. But they fixed it. They're like, no, we haven't.
Listen, it's feature complete. Like the implementation is done, but now it's all just icing on the cake. Let's just like make it sing.
And they're still doing like seriously cool shit, like performance gain cool shit, and like dope. Love to see it. Now, before we get out of here, a little bit of a feel good. Hopeful, because we've talked about cooling. We've had this discussion so many times during the pre-show and post-show. I'm like, where is our cooling revolution, man? Like, we're still putting blocks of metal with fans attached, and like, we got heat pipes. That's about
heat
it.
transfer, baby.
Yeah, like maybe the little farting solid state one that not a lot of like. Well, maybe the revolution is going to come by adding a little bit of powder to the thermal.
Some cocaine to your thermal base?
Maybe. Gallonstan?
Gallonstan. It's not just a fake country from the fantasy book. It's the alloy that's in this new
it's
compound.
ceramic aluminium nitrate, man. Mechanetic chemistry tech, son. I fucking love it, dude. So this is basically just unhinged, man. Like, it's able to achieve a heat transfer resistance between 56 and 72% lower than the best liquid metals. Not your thermal paste, not your
some actual T1000 shit.
thermal
right?
pad. Liquid metal. This stuff's better than liquid metal, and it's not leaky.
It's better than Robert Patrick. You can't stick Robert Patrick between your CPU and your heatsink and expect performance like this.
And I'm a huge fan of like thermal pads. Like that, I don't use like the lube. I don't use a CPU or GPU lube unless I have to. What do you use, Pedro?
I very much use what's it called? Arctic MX4?
Lube.
I think that yes, it's thermal paste.
Yeah. What about pads, Jordan? Have you ever thought about it being a little pad curious? Like,
I'm gonna do it once I run out of thermal paste. That's kind of it. I have many syringes already, so I'm waiting for those to finish off before I go buy any new ones. Right?
You know, it might be more because it used to be like when you bought a cooler, right? You would get a big chunk tube, right?
Now you get the itty bitty one that's like a third
it's
full.
A forever tube, and yeah, this really pissed me off. One of the things I noticed when I was doing that ARC A310 review was like I kept on having to repaste the damn thing every time I changed the bracket because Sparkle Engineering. And I went back, and I was using a tube that I got with one of my Noctua heat sinks, which I'm like, yeah, that's good stuff. Let's use that.
There's like decent crayon-sized ones. They got
my premium stuff with all the other premium nonsensical shit that's included with Noctua stuff these days. And I went back to because I had to pay something. And I'm like, I squeeze it, and it's like, I'm like, bullshit. What? And yeah,
they give you so little nowadays.
Noctua, dude, you out of all the fucking companies that got no business cheaping out, because that's premium all the way down. What is it, Pedro?
Thermal pads.
Yeah. Are they open?
Because different laptops require different thickness thermal pads.
Have you used them?
I have a bunch of them.
I'm a huge fan of the OG one. I've been using them for a long time. Eventually, what was it? Squeaky Linus did one on the graphene thermal pads, and everybody was like, hey, don't. I'm like, yeah, I've tried. Now that the tech tuber person's told you about them, maybe you'll go fucking try them, but they work great. This is going to be back. Is this going to be just like paste?
I think so, paste? Yeah. That's what it seems to be. The pictures in the article. Hey, the fucking the article has more pictures than the fucking GitLab project,
right?
But yeah,
they just show it applied, so you can't really see what it's gonna.
But I imagine also you probably need like a very thin layer of it as well, and like
yeah. And this is like, you're like, oh, well, the battery tech is in the fucking lab 10 years from now. Like, no, they're getting ready to already like deploy this shit enterprise level, like to make it a product. So probably the next couple of years, we're going to be seeing like turbo extreme paste get those degrees. And I guarantee you, a week after that, a fucking Reddit user will find a way to install it upside down and blame Noctua.
Yeah, you just got to put your CPU in a block of cheddar, and that'll fix it up.
Did you see this, Jordan? Pedro knows exactly what I'm talking about right here.
I have not seen this. Did someone stick some crap in the socket,
dude,
or what?
No. Somebody bought a 9800X 3D, installed it, sparked it up, took it out, and looked at it, and they're like, "Well, that's probably not good."
They took a picture where they showed the motherboard, and
yeah.
You can see the socket, and it lines up with the burn marks. And then you can see that the socket.
This is my story to tell, motherfucker. We're taking a look at the pins. It's already burnt the pads on the chip, and it's burnt the pins. So Jordan, he takes to Reddit to throw everybody under the bus. Now he types in his original. I remember seeing the original post on our PC Master Race, I believe it was, or either our hardware. And people were like, did you try this? And he's like, I've been building PCs for decades, and this is clearly not a problem. On my end, it's either AMD or the motherboard manufacturer is like cocked up, and these are dangerous products to the point to where Steve was, Tech Jesus was like, you got to send it in, and I'll. But even I saw this. What are we looking at here? Open image in new tab.
Smoosh?
You see that top left-hand corner there? Yeah, you see they got little notches on these things that are like on the left and right that are on different sides and divoted
There's a little
differently.
dot usually.
Yeah. Well, these don't. The equivalent of like the old school triangle, right? Yeah. These have notches cut out of the left hand side, and if you put it in wrong, it won't really click unless you really get serious about closing that lid and cranking it the fuck down until it cracks the plastic because you got it in this so fucking wrong. So what I'm saying is it might have sparked up, might have been user error. Pedro, what do you think?
Might have been. Yeah, it's not just the top. Like you can see the indent. You can look on the right side and it's perfectly round. And on the left, it has like a step to it, like a certain CPU. Yeah, like that one, perfectly round. If you look at the one on the other side, that's a bit squish. That got a little bit squished.
I knew it when I saw it because I have made that same mistake too, and I've had to painstakingly straighten a CPU pin. I'm like, I hope this boots.
Okay, so that's a different one. Like, I was thinking about this, and the reason I want to know, let me know what you think. We know that my trick is when I'm installing. I remember when zero enforcement sockets, ZIF sockets, came out. I remember before then when you had to force the fucking CPU into the socket. It sucked. It was not good feels. And when I'm doing this, I mean, what do? I assume I line it up right and I drop it. And if it doesn't drop, then I double check. And like, I just rotate that bitch like it's a Jenga thing until it just falls in. Then we're good.
Yep. That's been my approach as well these days.
Like I will never apply fucking force to it.
Yeah, gentle. Piano.
It's got to fall in by itself. It's got to be plinko with all the.
Yeah, because generally you just drop it in and then you pull the lever and that. Like,
and when I built a Threadbooper, like that worried the hell out of me, man, because you could put it in a caddy and it's like the new chips, the same thing. You know, the Threadripper CPUs don't have any pins.
They're VGA or whatever.
Right. Then you got like 3 torques that you got to like click in with a what's the word? I'm like a torque wrench.
Yeah,
that comes with this Threadripper. And I'm like, dude, you better get that right. But if I'm like tightening that down and it doesn't feel right, nah.
Yeah, these are expensive components. You get kind of paranoid, don't you?
But I think the guy,
especially
I don't
when
know
you
if he's
order
like
that
come
shit.
back and don't do the chest bumping. Just like chomp it up like I fucked up. All right, my bad. Hey, if you fucked up, you want to tell us about it, you can head over to linuxgamecast.com, smash that contact button, get in touch with us. Just drop us a comment below the video over on Patreon, on YouTube, or use our no reply email address where you might just get a reply in the form of us talking about it on the show. We got dumb PC. Okay, so yeah, I talked about my dumb PC stuff last week.
You brought up if you fucked up, send us some hate mail. Someone fucked up, send us some hate mail. So CPRN writes in, my work laptop's SSD went haywire, and I/O would spike every 10 minutes or so for 50 milliseconds, or I thought this at Microsoft.
Around
for Moon 50.
Yeah. The hardware guy said he could replace the SSD right away, or I could endure it for a few weeks and get a new laptop instead. Obviously, I agreed to wait. The stutter was noticeably affected screen rendering, but I didn't notice any other issues. Little did I know that every time it happened, all input was ignored, as in not queued. It normally wouldn't matter because hitting a random Moon 50 millisecond window is hard. However, how the fuck ever, a few days later, without getting into why porn, got it, I was forced to apply a patch in production. So I opened an SSH session to, ASCII porn in over SSH, right? In one terminal, spun up a dev environment in another, copied the database schema from prod to dev, and made sure just to test everything. No issue, so I jumped to prod, applied the patch, restarted the service, jumped back to dev, and cleaned it up. Now the unnecessary database, only to discover that my jump back to dev keystroke didn't register. Womp womp! Wiped out his prod database.
Good thing you had that backup.
Bravo.
Yeah, no, that's a real fucking horror story.
Reminds me of a coworker of mine. We had like an ingest server, and he was trying to like clean up a bunch of old files. So he did like a find and exec to rm delete, except he misplaced a space, and so it just cleared out the entire folder pre-ingest.
Oh, even with the limited amount, like I've accidentally dropped the fucking database.
My safety thing is every time I run a dangerous command, I put echo in front of it so that it just outputs it. I have to read it again and make sure that it is what I think it is before I actually execute it.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that sucks, man. Hopefully you were able to. It sounds like you were getting your case to shift that blame over.
Yeah.
To the appropriate, like, see, this wasn't my fault, guys.
I've been working with the faulty hardware.
Exactly. This wouldn't happen.
That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Right. Good job establishing the paper trail. Love it.
We have these idiots on a podcast.
It sounds like there was at least a backup at some point, so hopefully the backup was still there.
The moral of the story should actually be, don't log into your prod database and make changes. Do it all through a migration script, through your CI, so that you have testing in place.
This is why we need the 130 terabyte backup drive, dude.
Yeah, you need when you need to restore a backup,
Like,
fast,
what
right?
do you back up? All of a sudden, everything.
Everything is backed up on the same drive.
Just done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we do, hey, linuxgamecast.com. We got a support button. Become one of our patrons. Support the show in your special way. We thank you very much. We'll stick your name in the credits. We'll give you access to the pre-super shows and the big, long, uncut edition and the post show. The ability to come play with me and my TM2 crew on Tuesdays and Fridays with the Trackmania goodness. Join Jordan on his streams on Thursdays. And let's see, what else we got? Access to our show notes if you want to follow along with this, and weekly, daily Wednesdays, that's in there. You can see the sausage get made. Drop your suggestions in. Love to have them. If there's something you want us to talk about, more than happy to do it. And a couple other things. Merch. We have
yes, store.linuxgamecast.com.
where you can get pre-worn shirts from Jordan.
They smell like me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's a market for people who want those. Y'all are weirdos, but we'll
See, I don't think about like that stuff just because you know there is that person that be like, hey,
I will take your money. I won't make eye contact with you, but I'll take your money.
I don't joke because I don't need that DM from somebody that I know. I'll be like, listen, I know you're joking about that, but
how much for your used underwear?
Right, like, seriously, see what we're talking about. We thank each and every one of you. Of course, we got LibrePay and all the other fun things. If you can kick us some coin, we would appreciate it. Keeps us loud, live, independent, ad-free, and we could be absolute jackals.
Yes.
Brought to you by
Jackbox Party Pack? Not really, but
not really.
Sponsor us, guys. Sponsor us, Jackbox. you know you want it.
We've been over this. We'll only do commercials if Microsoft.
Microsoft Jackbox.
This episode of Linux Gamecast is brought to you by the Microsoft Surface.
WSL. I've said this for 13 years. I will only accept advertising from Microsoft because I will take Microsoft's money.
Xbox Live Arcade.
It'll
Game
be
Pass,
delicious.
baby.
Phil, call us up.
There you go. Sponsor a video for installing
Phil McCracken. Come on.
crack on a thing.
See, head of Xbox, Phil McCracken.
I was thinking of Phil Spencer, but Phil McCracken it is.
See, with a larger budget, we'll be able to do the full rendered version of that. You remember there's like
Phil the Kraken. Yeah,
Yes.
he's like a fucking octopus.
All right. Thanks everybody for your support. We got a bounce for tonight, but let's go ahead and cue the music. You can always get in touch with me over here on, let's see, I'm on everything, dude. Like, I'm on X, Blue Sky, Mastodon. I'm in Discord actually talking shit. And, just scream in my direction. I'll get back to you. And Interfacing Linux, I got a forum over there. Ask me your stuff. You got questions. Even got a gaming section if you want to use that. If you're curious about it, set up some of the weirder things I get into.
I'm Jordan. I am chained to the rocks, waiting for stop-motion creatures to come and eat my face. Follow me on Mastodon at Frojo at mast.linuxgamecast.com or on Blue Sky at frojo.bsky.app.
Yeah, Mastodon's the way to go. Seriously, if you do shit posts, I like shit posts. Most of my follows are people who just shit post all day long. If you do that, follow me. It's unaccounted for with the actual number 4 at mast.linuxgamecast.com, and I'll follow you back.
Follow Pedro.
There you
know
go.
it.
Yeah.
For shit posts.
All right. Fine.
follow.
Here's some credits. Wait. Aw.
This is last week's.
Yeah. I made new ones.
Repeated
Damn
gravy.
it. Well, hopefully no one has given us more money in the interim so we can thank our advisors.
Now I'm curious.
Theron and our executive producers, 1234 Ian, Eshep, Kraducky, Drummer, The Targos, Barbram, Scott, Atomic, Mike, and our little Nicky fans, Empty, Eggy, Basil, and Casey.
And the Sea Monsters, Dancing Joe, John, Dirty Dean, Angel, Dementor, System T, RL, Rider X, Mackin, and Nehemiah, Veritanuda, Trudgian, Mike, and the Death Notes, Reddisk, Mark, Terra, Oil of Hope, Benjamin, Nova, Chad, Romeo, Nubbin, Turnover, Martin, Renee, Leonardo, Kim, Chris, Jill, and Steve. And the Channelings, Beckett, Tim. No, I'm not gonna. You're all truly wonderful, but I can't. That's way too many of you.
And of course, our Libra play is Sandy's and Shoshe.
I think we need to send Pedro to like an auctioneer course so that he can be like.
I think it would just be more entertaining if we find a way to like through the occult arts and the dark squids and get him possessed by the micro machine guy.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think happens at the auction machine or auction school?
Auction machine guy, yeah. That one.
Auction micro machines. Yeah.
Transform.
Oh, man, can you imagine a micro machines auction? How fast would that guy have to talk?
It'd be pretty fast. Dynafire, everyone.
No, I'm trying
we'll
to think because I had a bunch of micro machines that I.
5 dudes.